From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's time for the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Anglers Live, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great, and this is your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And man, it is the holiday week. We got Christmas coming up on Saturday, Christmas Eve, Friday. Christmas is Saturday, and so I hope you guys are out getting getting all your gifts and all that good stuff going on, and everything. But you know what? It's my job to get you guys that money to go ahead and make sure that these gifts can all be compensated for. You know what I mean? So pretty much yesterday we did hit our dog of the day in the NBA Super High Five yesterday with a plus 160. If you did go ahead and actually bet that, take that bet, you were pretty happy with the results. And yesterday also we did pretty good in our Monday Night Football game, but in the makeup game, we didn't do that great. Browns lost that game by 2 points actually as well too. So if you did have the three on the Browns, you did go ahead and get yourself a nice little payout there and everything like that. And if you had the 2.5, or if you had something, the Raider bet where it was -3, it's still irony, but you might as well money line that situation if you went ahead and bet the Raiders yesterday. So, you know, it is what it is. We have ourselves a full show today. And up first, we're going to go ahead and jump into the boxing world because we have some news that's breaking in the boxing world. Spencer Ugas unification is the key bout to the mega fight with Crawford in the summer for the winner. And so that's how I'm feeling it. In my opinion, the winner gets Bud Crawford, but Bud Crawford will have another fight before this fight will take place, the unification and everything like that. But I just want to go ahead and let people know right now that Errol Spence should not be a downright favorite for this one, because the biggest thing about this fight is that you have a hungry guy in Ugas who is beyond, overlooked. You know what I mean? This guy is down. They've downright are rotten when it comes to the way that they rank this guy. This guy is by far one of the top 3 welterweights in the world after, say, Spence and Crawford. I know it sounds crazy right now, but you can't say it's still Keith Thurman, and we'll get to that in a moment when we talk about his fight. But what I'm looking at right now is I see that this will be the toughest fight to date for both of these guys. Spence, we would say, yeah, his toughest fight, and was probably the first fight that he had to win a title against Kell Brook, where he did have a little bit of he had a little bit of distress in the fight, but he was able to break his eye socket in the 7th round to end the fight. So he wound up winning the championship that night on what was a comeback situation for him, in my opinion. Now, Ugas, on the other hand, has got the raw end of the stick. He should have been the WBC champion. I had him winning that fight 116-112 against Sean Porter in Carson that night. And I felt that it wasn't fair that they didn't count the knockdown late in the fight, because that would have been the difference in him actually winning that fight. So Ugas winds up losing that night on a split decision, then comes back around and is very impressive against an undefeated fighter in Figueroa, and he was able to literally just one-side Figueroa in the fight. And then Ugas was able to have a great fight to win his title as well, too, against Ramos. That was a very, very good fight that he had against Abel Ramos, who's been a guest on a few of my platforms as well, too. And I also have an interview with him on YouTube. But he gave him a game fight all the way to the end. But Ugas was too good that night and was able to win the WBA strap, or a portion of it. And then he went ahead and cemented the deal by beating Manny Pacquiao. And I think that he beat Manny Pacquiao very convincingly as well, too. And I know that a lot of people say Manny's old, he's over the hill, blase, blase. But the style of fighter that Ugas is, he would have gave Manny problems in any age Manny was at, to be honest with you, okay? And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's just my 2 cents on that situation. But all in all, this is going to be probably one of the top 5 fights of the year coming up in 2022, and I think it will be up to all the billing as well too. I think that it will be an absolutely great fight between these 2 guys. And from what I'm hearing right now, it sounds like it's going to be the third and final fight that was agreed upon with Jerry Jones over at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. So we'll see how it goes. They haven't confirmed that yet, but I'm putting my bets on the fact that they will be back at Jerry's World to complete that deal. So there it is, Ugas, Spence. They're saying it's going to be set for March of 2022, but we will see how it goes. But March would be the ideal month if they are going to be in Texas for this fight. So there it is. We have ourselves a really fun year of boxing ahead of us, and that's one of the fights that we are able to look forward to now. From now, we have ourselves a pretty big fight coming up in Vegas on February 5th. This is going to be a welterweight pay-per-view extravaganza, as they would say, big time event and everything like that. 2 former champions in Keith one-time Thurman and Mario El Azteca Barrios, the former 140 champion. So they are going at it, and you know that a lot of people feel like now Barrios is a guy that they can get to because Tank he failed against Tank, but he still had probably the most game fight against Tank other than the recent fight with Isaac Cruz. So to me, you cannot sleep on Mario Barrios, and Mario Barrios has all the skills and all the intangibles to not just upset Keith Thurman, but to knock him out. And from how I'm putting this fight together, the reason why I say this is because Keith Thurman was a great fighter about 5 years ago. But when he caught his shoulder injury and was out the game for almost 2.5 years, it kind of just stalled him out a little bit. And then when he fought Manny right away, after fighting Josito Lopez in a fight that a lot of people felt that he wasn't really good in, and he could have probably took another tune-up before he did take the Manny fight, but he was thinking about the money, and you can't blame him. So pretty much he jumped in the ring for his biggest payday, wound up losing a split decision to Manny Pacquiao, and it wasn't controversial to most. I felt that Keith won the fight, but I was not mad at the decision with Manny Pacquiao. So I really do feel that, if Keith Thurman doesn't get knocked down in those fights and he doesn't have that moment in the fight where he had to kind of catch his wind a little bit, I think he would have been in a good place to actually win the fight on a split decision. So I think Keith Thurman, all in all, that probably took all the boxing life out of him because he's well paid and you haven't seen him in a ring since. And now he's coming back for a tune-up against Mario Barrios, a guy that's been in training and a guy that's just coming off of being a world champion and just coming off of a monster pay-per-view event with a guy who's seen as a top 5 pound for pound in the world. I think that fight right there gives him the advantage here, and he should not be a big betting dog in this one, in my opinion, even though I'll take it as him being a big betting dog in this fight. But at the end of the day, though, that's not what you want here. You want to make sure that it's an even field when it comes to the betting portion of the fight. And I think that when we get down to it, it'll wind up being probably about a -150 to Keith Thurman to a +130 to Mr. Barrios. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But you see that great undercard as well, too. You have my boy, Leo Santa Cruz, going against versus Keenan Carbajal. He's going to be defending his 126 WBA featherweight title that night as well, too. Abel Ramos against Josito Lopez in kind of a eliminator match on who's probably going to get the next big welterweight championship fight And Abel Ramos, this is really a move me up fight for him as well too, because they do have some big aspirations for him as well over there at PBC. But we all know that there's always a place in your heart for Josito Lopez because he always comes to bang. So that's something that a lot of people are going to look at as well too. So you expect the fireworks when it comes to Abel Ramos and Josito Lopez. And then you have Louis Neary, coming back after his first defeat after being knocked out by Brandon Figueroa over in Carson. He's going to fight against Carlos Castro, who was on the pay-per-view card for the Manny Pacquiao event as well too, and he had himself a great night that night, and he's going to have a little bit of a height advantage in that one as well too. So Carlos Castro, Louis Neary to kick off which looks to be a great pay-per-view in Las Vegas on February 5th. So there it is. All right, so pretty much with that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our first break of the day. And when we get back, we're going to go ahead and jump into the college football bets for December 30th. So you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back with the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live. And let's go ahead and jump into our bowl games for today. And that's going to be all the bowl games for December 30th as today. So pretty much that's what we are covering. So up first, we have the Dukes Mayo Bowl in Charlotte. And this is going to be a battle of the Carolinas. You got North Carolina, Chapel Hill going at the boys from Sky in old Greenville, the South Carolina Gamecocks versus the Tar Heels. So this should be a very, very good game. So when I look into this game, you have yourself two teams that really did not know that they were going to be in these bowl games. North Carolina had aspirations of being the champion of the ACC. That was thwarted pretty early in the season with them losing their first game of the year, which wound up being a conference game as well, too. And they wound up just having a pretty middling season. It seemed like they were able to, at points when they were able to make strides, they just could not close the deal. It's just that simple. So when I look at their numbers coming in here, you know, South Carolina did not have many expectations this year. They played absolutely exceptional the final month of the season, including a monster blowout win over the Florida Gators as well, too. So when you look at the Dukes Mayo Bowl, from what I have here in my notes, I have North Carolina coming in here 5-7 against the spread, and they have went over in 7 out of their 12 games this year. Now they will be the favorite in the game, as you can see. They're going to be right now they're at -9, but when I put this in last night, they were a -8.5. So as the favorite this season, they have a very good record, 7-2 straight up as the favorite. And then against the spread, they are 4-5. And then when it comes down to the over and under as the favorite, they have went over in 5 out of their 9 games this year. So they're looking pretty good when it comes down to the winning portion of being a favorite. But when it comes to covering, that's where they have their issues at. And usually when you have your issues covering and things like that, I would say this, that pretty much the 4 and 5 against the spread, that will wind up being exactly what it's supposed to be. So it is what it is. I'm sorry, I said 7-2. It's actually going to be 6-2 to be exact, and 4 and 4 against the spread as well too. 3 and 5 against the spread as well too. So sorry about that. But we got South Carolina 7 and 5 against the spread this year. They're 5 and 7 when it comes to the over and under, and then straight up, they're 2 and 6 as a dog this year. And then as against the spread, they're 4 and 4 as an underdog, and they've went over in 5 out of the 8 games as an underdog this year. So when I look at this game, I say to myself, hey, you know, North Carolina should ball. They have the better players here. They have the better coach. Blase. But I think that's an overhype here. This is an interstate rivalry, and the last time that North Carolina and South Carolina played, North Carolina was a heavy favorite coming into the game. They wound up losing the game. It was a close game, but they wound up losing the game to South Carolina. So with this being a battle of state on state, and their monster rivals as is in the Carolinas, I tend to go ahead and take the points with South Carolina. I'm not saying they win, but they make this game very, very close. So I like what I see here with South Carolina, and let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out, and we move forward from there. All right, now we move on to the Music City Bowl, and in the Music City Bowl, we have Tennessee, who's going to be the Tennessee, the state favorite, and you have the Purdue coming in here because this game will be played in Nashville, and of course, Music City. So pretty much when I look at the numbers for this game right here, this is what we have. We have a Tennessee team that's 7 and 5, and they are 5 and 7 against the spread. Then when it comes to the over and under, they've went over in 9 out of 12 games this season. Now, as a favorite, they are undefeated, 6-0, and against the spread, they're 4 and 2. And when it comes to the over and under, they've went over in all 6 contests as the favorite. Now, Purdue comes into this game with 7 and 5 against the spread on the season. They've went under in 8 out of their 12 games. As the underdog this season, they've been that spot 6 times, and they do have 2 monster wins as an underdog, beating number 2 Iowa and then beating number 2 Michigan State. So both those games were games where they were high favorites in as well, too, high dogs in as well too. So they are 3 and 3 against the spread and straight up. And then also when it comes down to the over and under, they've went under in 4 out of their 6 games as the underdog this year. So when it comes down to it, when I look at this one, this is another game that I look at and I say to myself that Purdue beat better teams than Tennessee. You know what I mean? I know they didn't beat the better teams than Tennessee at the end of the day, because Tennessee is an SEC team. But who did Tennessee really beat in the SEC this year? They got smoked by Bama. They got smoked by Georgia. They got smoked by Florida. So all those teams that I just named off that they got smoked by, that's 3 of their losses right there. Then their other 2 losses were really bad losses in itself, losing to, pretty much Pittsburgh wasn't a bad loss, but it wasn't a game that you would think that they would have dropped at the end of the day. So pretty much when I look at this one, I tend to follow Purdue, and I'm going to do the same thing with Purdue that I'm doing with South Carolina. I just think that this game comes down to the final moments, and I love the +4 on Purdue, and I think that they can easily win this game as well too. But I know I have to take Tennessee a little bit more seriously here because they are playing in their state as well too. This game will be on December 30th at noon from what I'm seeing here. So there it is for the Music City Bowl, and we move forward to our next game, which is going to be the highlight of the day, and that's going to be the Peach Bowl. That's going to be between Michigan State, who is the number 10 team in the nation, and Pitt, the number 12 team in the nation. You have the ACC champion facing off with Michigan State, who wound up being, I think, the Big Ten, like 3rd place or something of that nature. So pretty much you have the Peach Bowl, which is now a pretty legit bowl where you got to bring everybody to it, right? So you got a Pitt team that's 11 and 2. Michigan State's 10 and 2 coming into the game. Now Pitt is 10 and 3 against the spread, and they've went over in 8 out of their 12 games this year, 8 out of their 13 games this year as well too. So we'll see how it goes, see how it shakes out, because they have been the favorite in every single game except for this one. They are actually going to be the dog coming into this one. Michigan State is the slight favorite. Now, Michigan State is 9-3 against the spread, and they are went over in 7 out of their 12 games. That's kind of surprising to me. And as a favorite this year, they've been the favorite 7 times. They've wound up going 6-1 straight up. And they've went 5-2 against the spread, and they went over in 4 out of the 7 games that they've played in as the favorite this year. So Michigan State, Pitt, I think that this is a better spot for Pitt, because with the star player for Michigan State going into the draft and not participating in the bowl game, it gives me every thought that this game will wind up being a very, very tough game for Michigan State moving forward, because Kenny Walker going out is huge, because he's like 60% of their offense. So I think Pitt wins because they've had a great season, and they don't know when they're going to get back to this point of winning championships. Once Clemson kind of reloads up a little bit and refocuses themselves next season, and that North Carolina is going to be bringing in a good class. Florida State will eventually become Florida State again, and then pretty much we go from there. So all in all, this was a great season for Pitt. They want to make it one of their more memorable seasons, and that would be ending the season with the monster win in the Peach Bowl. I love them with the plus money in this spot. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, but I'm riding with the Pitt Panthers for this spot right here. All right, so there it is with that Peach Bowl in Atlanta. And we have and it's crazy now, the Las Vegas Bowl, since they've changed locations, it's not one of the earlier bowls in college football. It's now one of the later bowls in college football. And these guys, I know that they're excited about this one because, it's the first big bowl game in the Death Star, and it's going to look good. You got the Pac-12 going against the SEC. Well, actually, it's a Big Ten, Pac-12, SEC thing. So that's who they choose. That's the pool that they choose from in this, and they wind up going Pac-12, Big Ten this year. Now, Wisconsin coming into this game 8-4. Arizona State's coming into the game 8-4 as well too. Wisconsin finished the season very well, in my opinion. They didn't start the season off great at all, but they finished the season very well. And they won consecutive games, after I think what they dropped probably, I think their first 3 out of 5 games or so. So they've made it all the way back. You know what I mean? So when I look at Wisconsin, I see a team that's 6-6 against the spread on the season. And also when it comes down to the over and under, this team is even. So as a favorite, they've been a favorite in every single game. All right, so Arizona State, they're coming into this one 5-7 against the spread. And when it comes to the over and under, just like Wisconsin, they are split in their 12 games. And when it comes down to being an underdog, they were an underdog twice this season, and their one lone underdog victory did come against UCLA at the Rose Bowl. They are 1-1 this year as the underdog against the spread and straight up. And then as on the over under, they went over in both of those games. So Wisconsin, Arizona State, I'm just going to go with the team that is used to playing in big bowl games, and that's Wisconsin. And I think Wisconsin's going to relish playing in this new beautiful stadium in Las Vegas, and I think they're gonna put in that work that you need to win this game. I think that they're gonna bring out a lot of people to the city of Las Vegas for this game. I know that Arizona State will have a lot of fans there as well too, who probably already live in the state of Vegas, I was about to say state of Vegas, but who already live in the city of Las Vegas. So let's see how it goes, see how it shakes out. But I think Wisconsin absolutely rolls in this game. I think they win this one by 10 or better. I love the 7 in this spot. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. And that's going to be our bowl preview for December 30th of 2021. That would mean that we only have 2 days left in the year once we get to that point. So tomorrow we're going to go over most of our we're going to go over all the non-important New Year's Eve games, because I'm going to package everything with the New Year's Eve Bowl, New Year's Day situation with the New Year's 6 for Thursday's show. So you guys be ready for that, because that's going to be our big show for college football and everything coming up Thursday and everything like that. So we can wrap up our bowl previews and things like that. But today we have a game going on right now. You guys already know I'm on Kent State with the money line, and later on this afternoon I'm on San Antonio with the money line as well too, just to give you guys a heads up on those plays for that game. Okay, so you guys, pretty much with that, we're going to go ahead and take another quick commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and jump into the NBA, State of the Lakers and NBA Tuesday night. So you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live.
The Viget app, where social media meets sports betting. Get the latest line movements in all major sports. Track your daily bets, daily contests, the NFL over-under contest that pays out $10K in cash prizes. This is a cutting-edge app that helps betting be easy. Sign up with the reference code POPDBIC and you will be able to watch my daily show, The Primetime Angles, as a resource to building that bankroll. Viget is available in your Apple or Google Store on your iOS or Android. The social sports betting app, Viget.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
All right, we are back with the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live, and I hope everybody is enjoying the show right now. We have ourselves the State of the Lakers coming on up, and the State of the Lakers tonight face off with the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns have been a very tough team for the Lakers to crack over their last 5 or so meetings. You know, they're having a real issue with this team, and it makes sense. You know, LeBron and CP3 know each other very well. And now LeBron is getting older up there, and his teams aren't as great as they were before. So Chris Paul is kind of getting the best of him here in that situation as well, too. So pretty much from what I can see here in my notes going into this game tonight for the State of the Lakers. Now, when you look at the Suns, they're 24-5. They've won their last – they are absolutely incredible, dude. Like, to be honest with you. This is just amazing to just what they're doing. This team started off the season, I think 1-3, maybe 1-2, something like that. They weren't looking too good to start the year off. They had losses to the Blazers. They had a loss to the Kings. It was weird. They were just losing, right? And now this team has won their last 23 out of 25. Or 23 out of 26, I don't know, but this team is absolutely going crazy. They're 24-6 on the season. They're third in points scored in the NBA, averaging 112 points per game nightly. Also, they're second in field goal percentage as well too, with the 48% mark that they have. They're fourth in assists as well. You have Booker averaging 22.9 points per game. You have Aiden getting 11.3 rebounds per game, and then you have Chris Paul getting 10.1 assists per game. That's the numbers you want to see out of a big three. So that's pretty good in itself. They have that working in their favor. In December, they're 6-2 straight up. They are 4-4 against the spread, and they've split when it comes down to the over and under. Now, they did beat the Lakers 115-105 on October 22nd, and they coming to the road 9-3 straight up, but they have dropped their last 2 road games in a row. And also, they come in here 6-6 against the spread on the road as well too. Now, when it comes to the over and under, they went under 8 times in the 12 games that they played on the road. And versus the division, they're 3-3 straight up. All right, so we have the Lakers coming into this one tonight, 16-15. As I said before, after they were 8-9, they are now 8-6 after those 2 losses in a row. But it's okay because you know what? The Lakers have 2 monster players on their team that should be able to keep them afloat while AD's out for the next 4 weeks or so. So we have LeBron coming in here, 25 points per game, 6.6 rebounds per game, 6.8 assists per game, and this is on a nightly basis. Now, Westbrook, for all the people that are so mad at him, and I even had to kind of just back and start looking at the numbers and looking at the tape a little bit more and knowing that Westbrook was just trying to get himself comfortable. And these numbers should have everybody comfortable because this guy is doing a lot for our team right now. He's actually getting on under 20 points per game with 19.5 points per game. And also has a better rebound average nightly and a better assist average nightly than LeBron, 7.7 and 8.3. So Westbrook is a high-end all-around player for the Lakers. I just know that he has to find his comfortability with the team, and then we just go from there. All right, so the Lakers have now fallen to 8th in scoring. At one point, they were one of the top 3 teams in scoring in the NBA. They're now 8th in scoring, averaging 110 points per game. Also, they're 6th in field goal percentage with 46.4 in that department. And in December, they're 4-4, but the Lakers have 3 double-digit blowout wins this month as well, too. So just keep that in mind that the Lakers only had 1 real close game that they played in, and that was the game that was against Dallas in Dallas. But other than that, in their other 3 wins, in their other wins this month, they've been blowouts. The Lakers have beat teams by 15 or better in each of those games as well too. Okay, so that's something you look at and say to yourself, are the Lakers turning the corner? Now, against the spread, they're 5-3 this month. When it comes to the over and under, they're actually went under 6 out of their 8 games. That's actually a pretty good stat for the Lakers right now, who were giving up so many points nightly. And this is kind of showing a new trend with the Lakers that they're keeping teams 110 or below. And that's been like the last 2-3 weeks is what. So we'll see if they can keep that up. Also, at home, the Lakers are 10-7 straight up. And then when it comes to the spread, they are 5-11-1 at home. We all know this. The Lakers pulled off their last 2 wins, but before that, they were 3-11-1, and it was absolutely embarrassing. Now, they're starting to win some games at home, so it's not looking as bad. Now, when it comes to the over and under, they went over in 11 out of those 17 games. And when it comes down to the division, they are 1-4 versus their division. So, yeah, this one right here just tells me that we have ourselves a very, very fun game tonight between these 2 teams. And I think that a lot of people are going to have the idea, since AD's out, that the Lakers are going to absolutely lay down for the Suns tonight. I don't think that's happening. I think that LeBron actually has a very good game tonight. But I think that Westbrook is good to get about 30 or better points tonight because he likes to go right at Chris Paul. But I think that the X factor in this spot tonight is going to be Isaiah Thomas. I hate to just keep throwing his name out there like that and everything. Well, no, I hate to throw his name out there because hate's a strong word. But, I don't want to keep thinking – I don't want people thinking like I'm just jumping on his bandwagon and everything. But, the proof is in the pudding. The guy's scoring some scoring points at the right time. I think that he can be a vital figure in this tonight. And if he does play the X factor, the Lakers can absolutely win this game tonight. But they're going to need it all from everybody tonight to get this big win over a very hard-charging Phoenix Suns team that looks to be destined for 60-plus wins this season. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. That is the state of the Lakers, and we move on. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our NBA Tuesday night. And in the NBA Tuesday night, we have ourselves some really good games going on. And our first game is between two teams that are very familiar with each other. That's going to be the Pacers and the Heat. Now, the Pacers come into this game 13-18. The Heat come into this game 18-13. Now, these two teams have already played each other twice this year. Pacers won the first contest in Indiana 102-91 on October 23rd. Then earlier this month on the 3rd, the Heat beat the Pacers 113-104. That game was also in Indiana as well, too. So tonight they kick off their first game in Miami of this season series, and they're 1-1 in the series. Now, the Pacers in the month of December, they're 4-4 against the spread and straight up. Now, when it comes down to the over and under, they've went over in 5 out of the 8 games this month. Also, when it comes down to the straight up on the road, they are 3-11, and then when it comes down to the spread, they're 6-8 on the road this year. And then when it comes down to the over and under on the road, they've went under in 10 out of their 14 games that they've played on the road. Now, the Heat, on the other hand, they come into this month at 500, 5-5 against the spread and straight up. And then when it comes down to the over and under, they've went under in 5 out of the 10 games with 1 push. And then they have went 8-4 against the spread and straight up at home. And then when it comes down to the over and under, they're actually 5-5-2. So that means that they've been split, but then they also have 2 pushes in that regard as well, too. So when I look at this one tonight, I say to myself that this game has scoreboard watching all over it. And I honestly think that when it comes down to it, that these two teams are going to find themselves in a position tonight to where the team that gets out early and often should really go ahead and win the game tonight. But I like the Heat in this spot. They're much better at home than they are on the road. And the Pacers are just not that good of a road team. It's just that simple. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But other than that, I think that we are just going to have to look at this game and see how it goes. But I still tend to lean towards the Heat in this spot tonight. So there it is. There it is. We have the Pistons. And so our next game up is going to be this one. It's going to be the Pistons at the Knicks. Both teams are struggling at this moment. And I would say that it would be the Pistons struggling a lot more than the Knicks are. But as I keep telling you guys, I hate to keep kicking that dead horse with the Knicks. But as I told you guys before, this team is 8-16 since going 5-1 to start the season. Now the Pistons haven't really done anything. Their rookie hasn't really been healthy this year as well. Cunningham, the number 1 pick in the draft. So, the Pistons are really in the middle of a probably 3-4 year rebuild before you can really say that they're going to be a team that's going to be one to reckon with. Now, the Pistons do come into this game 1-7 straight up in the month of December, but they're 4-4 against the spread this month as well. Now, over under, they've actually went over in 6 out of their 8 games. This is kind of new because the Pistons went under in a lot of their games to start the year. Now, on the road, one of the worst teams in the NBA, 2-12 straight up on the road. But when it comes to the spread, they're 7-7. So another 500 record with the spread, but absolute atrocious losing record when it comes to the straight up. Now, when it comes down to the over and under, they've went over in 8 out of the 14 games that they've played in on the road. Now, the Knicks come into this one 2-7 in the month of December straight up and against the spread. And then when it comes down to the over and under, they went over in 6 out of the 9 games they've been in. And then when it comes down to the 15 games they played at home, they're 6-9 straight up. And then they're 5-10 against the spread. And then when it comes to the over and under, they went under in 8 out of those 15 games. So when I look at this one right here, I say to myself that you really can't pick a side here because both teams are struggling mightily right now. And I think that if you overthink the Knicks thinking that they're going to be able to just crush the Pistons, then you're kind of in the wrong. You're in the wrong lane for that one. I think that you need to look at this one and say to yourself that it should be more about the scoreboard. So we're going to see if these teams are going to put some points on the board. And I've given you guys the numbers. The Pistons have went over a lot this month. The Knicks tend to go over a lot. The Knicks were going over a lot at home before, and they're kind of having a good month when it comes to the over and under on their end as well too. So I think that this game definitely goes over because they're giving us a number that calls for this game to go over. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But that's the Knicks and the Pistons tonight, and they'll be at the Garden. And then we have the Blazers and the Pelicans. The Pelicans coming into this one 10-21. And then you have the Blazers who are 13-18. The Pelicans will be the host tonight as well. Blazers coming into the game 2-7 in the month of December. They've won their last 2 games in a row. So that means they started off the month at 0-7. So they're picking it up as fast as they can. They're 3-6 against the spread as well, too. And they've went under in 5 out of the 9 games they played this month. Now, on the road, they've played 13 games. They're 2-11 straight up, 3-10 against the spread. When it comes to the over and under, they've went under in 7 out of those 13 games. Now, the Pelicans come into the game in the month of December, 4-4 straight up, 3-5 against the spread, and they've went over in 5 out of the 8 games that they've played in the month of December. Now, when it comes to home games, they played 14 of them, and they're 5-9 straight up at home, 8-6 against the spread, and then they're also have went under in 8 out of their 14 games. Now, when you look at this one, you say to yourself, well, the Blazers are kind of picking it up a little bit. The Pelicans are having real issues at home, but they're also a really good home team when it comes to the cover. But I think that more talks to when they're like a +7, a +8, a +9. I think when they're at this low number right here, that's where you get those 6 losses from. Okay, so I really do like the Blazers winning 2 in a row coming into this game. I think that's building confidence, and they're going against a team that really is not worried about anything other than getting their star player healthy at this point. So we'll see how it goes, see how it shakes out, but I do like the even money on the Blazers today. All right, so we move on to our next game, our final game here. It's going to be the Timberwolves and the Mavericks. The Timberwolves and Mavericks squaring off tonight, and you have a Wolves team coming in here 15-15. You have the Mavs coming in here 14-15. Now, the Wolves did win their only matchup of the season versus Dallas, which was on the 19th of this month. They beat Dallas 111-105. That was actually on Sunday, and wound up, and this was in Minnesota. So this is the second of a home series between these two teams. So this is the second game for that series. So we have the Wolves who are 4-5 straight up in December, also 5-4 against the spread in December. Then they went over in 7 out of the 9 games this month as well too. And then when it comes down to their road work, they've been on the road 12 times this year. They're 6-6 straight up, 7-5 against the spread, and they've went over in 8 out of the 12 games they played on the road. Now, the Mavs coming to this one 4-6 straight up in December, 5-5 against the spread. They've went under in 8 out of their 10 games this month. And also, when it comes down to being at home, they played 14 home games. They're 7-7 straight up. But here you go. They've dropped their last 6 out of 7 as well, too. So it's not really good what's going on with this team. They actually did start off the year 3-0. And since that point, they've actually went 1-6. So yeah, it's not good. It's not good at all. So we'll see how it goes. Well, 3-6. I'm sorry. 3-6. All right. So they could be better. You know what I mean? 3-7 actually. I'm sorry. So they're struggling. They're struggling mightily, and they did drop the last five out of 6, including 5 in a row. And then lost to the Lakers as well, too, the night before beating the Hornets. So this team is really looking to get back into some good shape here. And I think that's exactly what you need to determine here when you really break this all down. You got a team that's 4-10 against the spread at home, absolutely dreadful. And then when it comes down to the over and under, they went under 9 out of those 14 games. So there it is. That's going to be our preview for the NBA tonight. I think that we are on to something pretty big here, and I think that we can go ahead and know that, hey, Pop's going to get you in the right spots, right? So let's go ahead and jump into Talking Tickets. I know it's your favorite segment and everything like that, so let's go ahead and jump into it. And on Talking Tickets today, what do we have here? Drum roll. All right, up first, we got the Frisco Bowl bets. The Frisco Bowl is going to be the bowl game that's going to be played over in Frisco, Texas, over there at that beautiful stadium. And pretty much you have San Antonio, who's going to be the de facto home team today, but not the favorite, but it don't matter. We're taking them with the plus 120 on the money line. Then when it comes to the first half, I expect both these teams to score some touchdowns. So I like the over 24.5 first half. And then when it comes down to the first quarter, I like San Antonio to be up or tied in the first quarter, and that will help us go ahead and cash this ticket. So there it is. Those are the Frisco Bowl bets for today, and we move forward from there. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some more college sports, and now we jump into the world of college basketball. In college basketball today, we have the minus 28 on Iowa State. Then we have the -3 on Loyola Marymount, and then we also have Manhattan today with the plus 110, and then we have Marshall with the plus 150, and then we have Winthrop in their spot against Ole Miss with the plus 9.5, and then we finish up with Grambling with the plus 22. This is going to give you a 70-1 ticket. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. Small risk, big reward. All right, so here we are with the NBA Super High Five for today. We're going to take the over 207.5 with the Pistons and the Knicks. Then we have the Heat money line plus 105. That's going to be our skinny dog for today. And then we have the Blazers at even money. And then we also have the under 215.5 with the Wolves and the Mavs. And then we close it out with the plus 7 on the Lakers at home. So there it is, 27-1 NBA Super High Five. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out, and let's move forward from there. And we cap it off with our NFL ticket, and our NFL ticket is going to be this one. It's going to be the it's going to be right here. It's going to be the Seahawks at Rams ticket. Yes, I'm going crazy today. I'm going in with on the whole enchilada. Seahawks money line plus 250. Also the over 23 first half. And then we're taking the plus 2.5 Seahawks first quarter. Then we finish up with the Seahawks over 19.5 team total. Now, the Washington football team comes in here going against the Eagles for the first time this season. I know that they've been really, really devastated by COVID and everything like that, but Ron Rivera don't know how to die. I'm sorry. Ron Rivera, this is his time of the year to win football games and win football games in circumstances that teams might not be able to that other teams might not be able to be effective in. But Ron Rivera will find a way to make this team somewhat successful. They're not going to walk on the field and just lay down. I love the plus 8.5 here. Also, I think Washington's going to score some points on this leaky Eagles defense, and I love the over 40.5, and I know that they're going to score some points as well too. And then the first half, I'm going even deeper. I'm going to take the money line on Washington to be up in the first half with the plus 225, and then we end up with the plus 2.5 on Washington with the first quarter. So there it is. There it is. That's going to be our talking tickets for today. And I want to go ahead and thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I'll be back tomorrow at noon. I'm going to confirm this afternoon to see if we're going to have Mike on the show with us. It is a holiday week, so we may not get him back until probably next week or so, but I'll check up on him to see if we can make that happen. And so pretty much there it is. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live, with your host, Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper. And as I always say, if you got a hunch, bet a bunch. Always bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and I am gone.
East and the West. You've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.